ladies and gentlemen. In a world constantly bombarding us with expectations of who we should be, how we should act, and what we should look like, authenticity is nothing short of revolutionary. It takes courage to show up as yourself, to strip away the layers of pretension, to resist the temptation to conform, and to own who you are without apology. Authenticity isn't about perfection, it's about honesty. It's about embracing the entirety of who you are, the triumphs, the mistakes, the quirks, and even the insecurities, and standing firm in that truth. We live in a society that idolizes the curated, the polished, and the filtered. But think about this for a moment: what would happen if, instead of hiding our imperfections, we wore them as badges of honor? What if, instead of chasing a version of ourselves designed to please others, we leaned into the version of ourselves that simply feels right? There's a kind of peace that comes from being true to yourself, a confidence that isn't reliant on anyone's validation. It's magnetic, unshakable, and deeply inspiring. The truth is, being authentic is not always easy. It's challenging to remain grounded in who you are when the voices around you try to shape your identity. There will be moments when staying true to yourself feels isolating. But remember, authenticity is not about being accepted by everyone, it's about living in harmony with yourself. The strength of authenticity lies in its ability to anchor you, to give you a foundation that no external force can shake. Authenticity also brings a certain kind of power and unspoken energy that people recognize and gravitate toward. When you are unapologetically yourself, you give others permission to do the same. You create space for honesty, for real conversations, and for deeper, more meaningful connections. It's in those moments of vulnerability, when you let your guard down and show the world who you really are, that the most profound bonds are formed. Authenticity is a statement. It's an act of defiance in a world that thrives on imitation. It's a declaration that says, I am enough, just as I am, and in that simple truth lies an incredible strength. There's a quiet power in realizing that no one else in the world is exactly like you. Not a single person shares the same combination of your experiences, perspectives, dreams, and quirks, and yet, so often we shrink ourselves, attempting to fit into boxes that were never meant to hold us. From the moment we're old enough to recognize comparisons, we're subtly taught to measure our worth against someone else's standards. Whether it's in how we look, what we achieve, or even how we think, the pressure to conform is constant. But here's the truth: the very things that make you different are the things that make you extraordinary. Embracing your uniqueness isn't just about accepting what sets you apart, it's about celebrating it. It's about standing tall in the knowledge that your individuality is your greatest asset. Think about it: how many incredible innovations, how many groundbreaking ideas have come from people who dared to think differently, who refused to follow the crowd. Being unique is not a flaw to fix, it's a gift to nurture. Every nuance, every oddity, every little thing that makes you you is part of a beautiful mosaic that can never be replicated. It's easy to get caught in the trap of comparison. Social media and society at large have created a culture where we're constantly evaluating ourselves against carefully curated versions of others. But the truth is, no filter, no trend, no fleeting approval can hold a candle to the authenticity of being yourself. Trying to emulate someone else's path only leads to frustration, because you weren't meant to walk their journey, you were meant to forge your own. Your story, your voice, your perspective, they matter. They are necessary. Embracing your uniqueness also means letting go of the fear of being misunderstood. Not everyone will get you, and that's okay. In fact, it's a sign that you're standing out, that you're not blending into the noise. Uh, the more you lean into your individuality, the more you'll find the people and opportunities that are aligned with your true self. It's not about being everything to everyone, it's about being everything to yourself. And let's be honest, being unique takes bravery. It requires you to step outside of comfort zones and resist the urge to follow the well-worn path. It asks you to trust in your own vision, even when it feels easier to seek validation from others. But in that act of self-trust lies the magic. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs originals. It needs people who see things differently, who challenge the norm, who bring something fresh and authentic to the table. That's how progress happens. That's how true impact is made. Your uniqueness is your superpower. It's the mark you leave on the world, the legacy you create, and the inspiration you give to others who are still searching for their own courage to stand apart. There's a common misconception that strength comes from never faltering, from always putting on a brave face, and from keeping your emotions tightly sealed behind an impenetrable wall. But true resilience doesn't come from denying your feelings or masking your struggles, it comes from the courage to embrace your vulnerability. It's in those raw, unguarded moments when we allow ourselves to feel deeply and honestly that we discover the wellspring of strength we didn't even know we had. Vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's one of the most profound demonstrations of courage. To admit that you're hurting, to share your fears, to show the world the parts of yourself that aren't polished or perfect, this takes a level of bravery that many people never reach. Because when you're vulnerable, you open yourself up to judgment, rejection, and criticism. But you also open yourself up to connection, growth, and healing. It's in the act of being real, of allowing yourself to be seen fully, that you begin to build the resilience to weather life storms. Resilience and vulnerability are not opposing forces, they are partners. When you acknowledge your struggles and face them head on, you're not giving in, you're taking control. You're saying, this is hard, but I am stronger than this moment. It's through vulnerability that you learn to adapt, to rise, and to thrive. It allows you to confront the truth of your experiences rather than running from them. And in doing so, it gives you the tools to move forward with clarity and purpose. Think about the moments in your life when you've grown the most. Were they times of ease and comfort, or were they moments when you were challenged, when you felt exposed, when you had to dig deep to keep going? Resilience is born in the fire of those experiences. It's not about avoiding hardship, it's about learning how to navigate it with grace and determination. And vulnerability is the compass that guides you through. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give yourself permission to learn and to evolve. You acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, that you might stumble, and that you'll probably fail more than once. But in those stumbles and failures, there's a quiet strength, a refusal to let fear or pride stop you from trying again. Vulnerability strips away the illusion of control, leaving behind a raw, unfiltered version of yourself that is not only resilient but unstoppable. It's also through vulnerability that we build our most meaningful relationships. When you let your guard down and share your authentic self with others, you create space for genuine connection. People are drawn to honesty because it's rare and because it reminds them of their own humanity. And in those connections, you find the support, encouragement, and understanding that fortify your resilience. You learn that you don't have to face challenges alone, and that leaning on others is not a sign of weakness, it's a testament to your strength. The truth is, life will test you. It will throw challenges your way that seem insurmountable. But every time you allow yourself to feel the weight of those moments, to cry, to grieve, to acknowledge your fears, you also create the opportunity to rise above them. Vulnerability is the process of breaking yourself open so that the light can get in, so that you can rebuild with a stronger foundation. It teaches you that resilience isn't about never breaking. It's about how you put yourself back together, piece by piece, stronger and more whole than before. There's an undeniable truth about the world we live in. The rarer something is, the more it is valued. From the most coveted diamonds to the finest works of art, scarcity creates desire. But what we often overlook is how this principle applies to us as individuals. In a society that constantly pushes us to conform, to fit in, to be just like everyone else, we forget that our differences, our rare qualities, are what make us truly valuable. Think about it, the things we treasure most in life are never abundant. Whether it's time, genuine love, or authentic connections, the things that are hard to come by hold a special place in our hearts. Why? Because they cannot be replaced, because their scarcity gives them meaning. The same is true for you. The very aspects of your personality, your perspective, and your story that make you different from the crowd are the ones that make you priceless. But recognizing this value isn't always easy. We're taught from a young age to blend in, to follow trends, to mimic what's popular so we can feel accepted. The result, a world that often feels saturated with sameness. And yet, it's the outliers, the people who refuse to follow the mold, who truly leave their mark. Why? Because when something stands out, we notice it. When something is rare, it captures our attention and stirs our curiosity. Scarcity equals value because it reminds us of the fleeting and irreplaceable nature of certain things. Imagine a one of a kind painting. Its worth isn't just in its beauty, but in the fact that it's the only one of its kind. There are no duplicates, no copies that can fully capture its essence. The same is true for you. Your experiences, your thoughts, your dreams, there are no duplicates. No one else has walked your path or seen the world through your eyes. That alone makes you irreplaceable. In a world overflowing with distractions and superficial interactions, authenticity has become a rare commodity. People crave the genuine, the real, the raw. That's why your individuality, your uniqueness holds such immense value. It's not about being better than anyone else, it's about embracing the fact that no one else can be you. The things that make you different aren't liabilities to hide, their treasures to be showcased. Scarcity also teaches us to appreciate what we have. When something is rare, we treat it with care. We protect it, nurture it, and value it for what it is. This applies not just to how we see others, but to how we see ourselves. When you begin to view your uniqueness as a rare and precious asset, you start to treat yourself with the respect and reverence you deserve. You stop comparing yourself to others because you realize that no comparison could ever be fair. You are in a category of your own. This principle also applies to the way we spend our time and energy. Our attention is one of the rarest resources we have. In a world that constantly pulls us in 1,000 different directions, choosing where to focus your energy becomes an act of self respect. The things you invest in, the people you surround yourself with, the goals you pursue should be as rare and valuable as the attention you give to them. Scarcity reminds us to prioritize, to recognize what truly matters, and to let go of what doesn't. When you look at the people who inspire you the most, you'll notice something they all have in common: they dare to be different. They didn't try to blend in or dilute their uniqueness to fit into someone else's expectations. Instead, they leaned into their rarity, understanding that their value came from what set them apart. It's their scarcity, their refusal to conform, that made them unforgettable. True leadership and influence don't come from commanding attention or forcing people to follow you. They come from lighting a fire in others, from empowering them to see their own brilliance and potential. When you inspire others to shine, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. It's about lifting others up, showing them what's possible, and reminding them that they too are capable of incredible things. In a world that often thrives on competition, there's something profoundly powerful about choosing collaboration instead. Inspiring others to shine doesn't diminish your own light, it amplifies it. It creates an environment where everyone feels seen, valued, and encouraged to bring their best selves forward. When you celebrate someone else's success, you're not losing anything. Instead, you're creating a culture of positivity and growth where everyone can thrive. Think about the people who've inspired you in your life. Were they the ones who tried to outshine everyone around them, or were they the ones who made you feel like you were capable of more than you ever imagined? Chances are they were the latter. They were the ones who listened, who supported, who believed in you even when you didn't believe in yourself. That's the kind of impact we all have the power to make. Inspiring others to shine begins with recognizing their unique strengths and talents. Too often, people are unaware of their own potential because no one has ever taken the time to point it out to them. By acknowledging and encouraging what makes someone special, you give them permission to embrace those qualities fully. You help them see what they might not yet see in themselves. And sometimes that's all it takes: a kind word, a genuine compliment, or a vote of confidence can be the spark that ignites someone's journey toward greatness. It also requires you to lead by example. You can't inspire others to be their best selves if you're hiding your own light. When you're unapologetically authentic and bold, you give others the courage to do the same. They see your confidence, your resilience, your determination, and they start to believe that they too can embody those qualities. Your actions become a blueprint, a silent yet powerful message that says, if I can do it, so can you. Inspiring others to shine isn't just about celebrating their victories, it's also about standing by them in their struggles. It's about being the person who says, I see you and I believe in you even when the world seems to have turned its back. Sometimes the most impactful thing you can do is to remind someone of their worth when they've forgotten it themselves. You become the mirror that reflects their strength back to them, helping them rediscover their inner light. It's also important to remember that inspiration doesn't have to be loud or grand. Small, consistent acts of kindness and encouragement can have a profound impact. A simple word of encouragement, a gesture of support, or even just showing up for someone can plant seeds that grow into incredible transformations. You don't have to have all the answers or be perfect to inspire others. You just have to be genuine, present, and willing to share your own journey. When you inspire others to shine, you're not just changing their lives, you're creating a legacy. The people you uplift will go on to uplift others, creating an unending chain of positivity and empowerment. Your influence becomes a part of something much bigger than yourself, something that transcends time and space. It's a reminder that every single one of us has the power to make a difference, not by competing to be the brightest star, but by helping others discover their own light. Leaving a legacy isn't about how much you own or the titles you've accumulated. It's about the imprint you leave behind, the lives you've touched, the hearts you've moved, and the changes you've inspired. A legacy is not built in grand gestures or fleeting moments of fame. It's woven into the everyday actions, choices, and the values you live by. It's about how you make people feel, the hope you instill, and the strength you pass on to others long after you're gone. And at its core, leaving a legacy begins with intention. It's about asking yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? What do I stand for? These questions aren't always easy to answer because they require us to reflect deeply on the lives we're living. It's not just about personal achievements, it's about the impact we create for others. It's about building something that outlives us, something that continues to inspire, guide, and empower future generations. A legacy is built in the values you hold and how you share them with the world. Whether it's kindness, resilience, generosity, or courage, the principles you embody become part of your lasting contribution. Every act of compassion, every word of encouragement, every instance where you choose integrity over convenience adds to the foundation of your legacy. These moments may seem small in isolation, but together they create a powerful narrative that tells the world who you were and what you believed in. The truth about leaving a legacy is that it's not a destination, it's a journey. It's not something you start thinking about at the end of your life, it's something you build every single day. It's in how you treat others, how you handle challenges, and how you use your gifts and talents to make the world a better place. It's in the risks you take, the dreams you pursue, and the ways you inspire those around you to do the same. Leaving a legacy often means planting seeds you may never see grow. It's about having faith in the future and understanding that the work you do today will ripple outward in ways you can't always predict. When you mentor someone, when you share your wisdom, or when you lend a helping hand, you're not just impacting one life, you're creating a chain reaction of positivity that can touch countless others. Your influence extends far beyond the immediate. It's also about breaking barriers and creating opportunities for others. A true legacy doesn't just celebrate your own accomplishments, it paves the way for others to achieve their dreams. It's about opening doors that were once closed, about challenging systems and norms that hold people back, and about ensuring that your success becomes a stepping stone for someone else. When you lift others up, you ensure that your impact lives on through them and the people they inspire in turn. Leaving a legacy doesn't require perfection. It's not about never making mistakes or always having the right answers. In fact, some of the most powerful legacies are born out of struggle. They come from people who faced adversity head on, who fell but got back up, who showed that resilience and determination can overcome even the most daunting challenges. It's in those moments of vulnerability and perseverance that you show others what's possible. Your legacy is also carried forward in the stories people tell about you. It's in the memories you leave behind, the lessons you've taught, and the way you've made others feel. Long after you're gone, people will remember how you treated them, how you made them believe in themselves, and how you stood by your values. They won't remember every detail of what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel valued, seen, and capable. When you focus on leaving a legacy, you shift your perspective from living for yourself to living for something greater. It's about building a life of meaning, where every choice and action contributes to a bigger picture. It's about realizing that your time here is finite, but your impact can be infinite. And that impact isn't limited to big, life changing moments. It's found in the consistent, intentional ways you show up for yourself and others. In the end, being real and rare is about embracing the power of authenticity, celebrating your uniqueness, and inspiring others to shine alongside you. It's about recognizing that your value lies in what makes you different and understanding that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a path to resilience and connection. When you live authentically, you create a ripple effect that empowers those around you to do the same, leaving a legacy of impact and inspiration. Remember, the rarest gems shine the brightest, not because they try to outshine others, but because they are unapologetically themselves. In a world that often asks you to conform, Choose instead to stand tall in your truth. Be the person who lifts others, who plants seeds of hope, and who creates a lasting impact simply by being genuine, bold, and kind. That is the essence of being real, being rare, and leaving your mark on the world.